everybody, Chad here. In this video really quick, we're going to talk about how to get a Thai license or an international license in Thailand. Okay, and I've had other videos explaining like why you need a Thai license, so I'm not going to get very explicit in that, why you need an international license, okay? Because legally speaking in Thailand, you need an international license. Just because you can rent a motorbike with your country's driver's license, that doesn't mean you're not going to get tickets. So that being said, that's why eventually you want a Thai license or an international license. And it's really going to come down to personal opinion. Now, if you're a long stay, 100%. If you're going to retire in Thailand, 100% you need a Thai license or international license, because you're not going to want to pay tickets all the time. Okay, that adds up. Now, the only choice is if you're really on vacation. Makes sense? You go there for a week or two. You know, be honest with you, just in my opinion, what I would do if I went there for a week, I wouldn't even get a Thai license or international license, because it takes up one whole day of your vacation. I mean, sometimes it's split into 2 days, depending upon how busy the immigration office is. So, I mean, if you're only going for a week, you don't want to take one whole day out of your vacation just to get an international license. So you're just going to gamble on, taking taxis, renting a bike, maybe you get a ticket here and there, and you just pay it. So then everybody's happy. Other than that, if you're a long stay, well, of course, you're going to want a Thai license or international license. So that's kind of on you. But before we get started here, I want to tell you a funny little story that happened to one of my friends. I actually met him in Thailand. No, I was there before he was, because I was long stay. I stayed there for a year in Phuket, Patong, and or how you say it, like Patong, Phuket, Thailand. And I was staying at the Atamata Resort at the time. And I was at the Atamata Resort for like 6, 7, 8 months. Something like that. And I remember as I was sitting in the, and this is a funny story. I was sitting in the reception area, and he kind of walks in. He's walking up to the reception desk, and he's carrying a helmet, and I can hear him. He's kind of loud. He's kind of a little bit shorter than me, a little bit more stockier. And he's asking the receptionist, hey, I want to exchange my helmet. This helmet's like, too small, and it's not fitting my head. So she walks around the corner, goes into the back room. But how I'm sitting, I can kind of see the corner of the back room. So when she's walking out, I can see her before he can see her, but he's behind the desk. So when she walks out, she's carrying this bright pink helmet, like this lady helmet. It's bright pink. So I'm sitting there like almost giggling out loud. So I'm sitting there waiting. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, what is he going to do? Is he going to take the helmet, or is he going to, tell her he wants a new one? So I'm just sitting there waiting to see what he's going to do. So she walks around the corner. He sees it, and she hands it to him. He takes it, but his face was just like, you could tell he can't really believe that. It's like, dude, she gave me a bright pink woman helmet. Like, why would she do that? Like, that's kind of like imagining what he was thinking, but he just didn't say anything out loud. So when I see his face and he takes it, he's just sitting there like looking at it, staring at it. Now I start laughing. So he looks over at me, and I'm laughing because I'm like, it's like, dude, if you wear that helmet, in Thailand driving around, you're going to have all the lady boys running after your motorbike. so anyway, he exchanges it, and she gives him a new one. And we start chatting there for a second. And we hung out a lot in Thailand, but we started chatting. But he was telling me, well, I just got back from the police station. I've been there like half the day. I wasted my whole day going to the police station. So I said, well, why'd you go to the police station? He said, well, no, they pulled me over because they gave me a ticket for not wearing a helmet. Plus, they gave me a ticket because I didn't have an international license. And on top of it, I didn't have no cash on me. So they drove me to the flipping police station. So then he's like, I've been in a police station, trying to settle it, pay for it, and stuff like that. Which I think it was only like 1,000 baht. But, but lots of times these tickets, when they take you to the police station, it wastes a couple hours of your time. It's not just paying the money. It's, it's a waste of time also. So that's kind of where we kind of start this, okay? How do you get a Thai license? How do you get an international license in Thailand? Now, I have other videos on this, like why you really need a Thai license. Even though I'm going to snap, I'm just going to short, sweet, to the point. Even though you can rent a motorbike very, very easily, you can rent it with your country's driver's license. Just because you can rent it and they rent it to you and it's so easy, that doesn't mean it's legal in Thailand. So they're not going to tow your vehicle, tow your motorbike, or take it away, but they will give you a ticket and they will force you to pay. So the tickets are usually around anywhere between 500 baht to 1,000 baht. 1,000 baht is about 30 bucks in USD. So it's not a lot of money, but it does add up if you get a ticket every day. You know what I mean? You get a ticket 2-3 times a week. It adds up. You don't want to waste money. It adds up. So when you're on a long stay, the proper way to do it is you have a Thai license or a Thai international license. Whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. Okay? It's not your country's driver's license. It's not your passport. Okay? It's not your country's passport. It doesn't matter what people told you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the resort told you. Okay? If you don't want to get tickets, you need a Thai license and an international license. Period. Okay? So, how do you get one? Okay, now, before you even go to, they have kind of what's called, I forget what they call it. It's kind of like, now in the States, we call it the DMV. Okay, it's a Department of Motor Vehicles. So if you want a license, if you got to take a test or anything doing with your driver's license or driving, or you want a motorcycle license or whatever, you go to the DMV. That's the same place you go in Thailand. They call it a little bit different, but I forget the name they call it, but you go to the DMV. Department of Motor Vehicles. Now, before you go, you don't just go and show up, because you're not going to get it. They're going to send you away, and they're going to tell you, you got to go to immigration first. So, before you go to Thai immigration, this is the documents you need. This is why you're watching this video. So, with me, I always keep all my documents when I travel. These are my travel documents. I keep copies of everything. I at least make 5 or 6 copies of every single document I have in here. Okay, so I'm always going to take this. I keep this in a safe in my resort or my condo, wherever I'm staying. And that way I don't lose it. But when I go to immigration, I take this bad boy with me. And when you go to immigration, I got these pillows sitting up over here. And when you go to immigration, you're going to take your passport. Okay, pretty much not anywhere you go, but if you want to change hotels or resorts, you're going to check in with your passport, because they make a copy of your passport and they keep it on file. Same way you go to immigration. Anytime you go to immigration, you're going to take your passport with you. Your original passport, not just copies, your original passport. So you're going to take your original passport and you're going to make copies, okay? You make copies because they're going to verify it's you, the original passport, and they're going to keep your copies, okay? So when you make copies of your passport, you make copies of every single page, okay? Listen to this, every single page. Okay, not your blank pages. Any pages have a stamp on it, your visa on it, your front page have your picture on it, you make copies of. Some people will say, oh, Chad, you just need a front page and your visa page, and that's it. No, every single page, because I've been in immigration where I've only had a copy of my front page, basically like this, and where's my visa, and my visa, and guess what? I got sent home. They're like, no, we want copies of every single page. Now, sometimes if you go to a small immigration, they'll make copies for you. If they're busy, they're going to tell you to go elsewhere. If it's a bigger immigration like Bangkok or Phuket Town immigration, they actually have a separate line where people stand in to make copies. So it's just going to take more time. So better safe than sorry. So make a copy of your passport in every single page that has a stamp on it. Okay, copy your passport, copy your visa, which is inside your passport. Okay, after that, you're going to want passport photos. So I've had a video on this. You want to take extra with you, but you don't want to have to run around and do this in Thailand. Take extra passport photos with you. But they use this for your documents. Then on top of that, you're going to want a proof of residence. Okay, proof of where you're staying. Don't let that scare you, because when you say a proof of residence, you might think, well, I don't live in Thailand. I don't own a condo or own, I'm just staying in a resort. They want proof of residence. They want proof of where you're staying. Okay, if you're staying in a hotel, you're staying in a resort, they want proof of that. So Now, in the beginning, now today, I would actually be a little bit more, and I'll tell you what to do, but I would have a copy of my booking confirmations that it's been paid for. That's where I stay. I've also made a copy of my key card, just a copy of it, because you always have your key card with you that you stay there in that resort. Then, before you even go, you go down to the reception area of the resort you stay or the hotel you stay, and you ask for proof of stay, okay, like a proof of residence. So, and you tell them, I'm going to go to immigration, I'm going to get a Thai license, international license. This is what they want, proof that I'm staying here. And they should know what you're talking about. It's a lot of people do this. Even if you extend your visa, okay, you want to stay longer, you have to have a proof, you have to have a proof of stay, proof of where you're staying. So they print out a proof of stay for you and they give it to you. Okay, so you're going to take all these documents. It's simple, sounds a lot, but it's very simple. You take all these documents with you, copies, because they don't keep the copies. They don't just look at them and give it back. They keep it. Okay, so that's why you want copies. So when you go to immigration, you ask for, this is what you're going to ask for. You want a certificate of residence because you want to get a Thai license or an international license. They'll know what you're talking about. Okay, it's called a certificate of residence. So they'll give you, what they'll do is they'll give you a form to fill out. It's just like I forget, it's kind of like a 1-pager, 2-pager, just basic information about your flight, where you're staying, passport information, same stuff you would fill out on the airplane. Okay, your flight to Thailand. So you fill out that page, you go up, you give it to them, you pay 500 baht. At the time I've done it, it's around 500 baht, which is about 15 bucks USD. And they're asked for your passport, your original, okay, because they want to look at it, make sure it's you. Then they're asked for all your copies that I just told you. They're asked for copies of your passport, okay. They're asked for your passport picture, okay, so you're given a picture. Then they're asked for your proof of residence. Once they have all that, it's just a waiting game, okay. They have to type up and create their certificate of residence. And I don't have one, and this is the reason why. Okay, and I'll tell you that in a second. Okay, but they take your picture, the original picture, not a copy, and they staple it to the certificate of residence. Then you take that certificate of residence once you have your certificate of residence, you take that, and that's what you need to get a Thai license. Okay, you don't have a Thai license yet, but that's what you need. So you take that with you, along with your documents, along with your passport, okay, just like you went to immigration, you go to their DMV. Now, if you don't know where their DMV is, when you're in immigration, you ask them, hey, I'm getting a Thai license, where do I need to go? Okay, then they'll direct you, because I can't tell you where to go because I don't know where you're staying, okay? If you're staying in Phuket, staying in Patong, okay, you have to drive to Phuket town to go to their DMV. Okay, if you're in Bangkok, you have to go to their DMV, but immigration will tell you where it is. Okay, so you have to go to their DMV. Now at the DMV, this is where you give them all your documents. They're gonna want to see your passport, your original passport. They're gonna want to see documents if they want documents. But the biggest thing is you have their certificate of entry, not the certificate of residence. Sorry, not certificate of entry. Certificate of residence. So you give them that, they're going to ask for it. And at that point, you have all the documents. You're going to have to take a test. You're going to have to take a driving test. So I'm assuming at that time that you might have your own motorbike. When I did mine, I bought my motorbike. So I had a motorbike. So they give you a driving test. If you already know how to drive a motorbike, it's pretty simple. But the whole process, taking the test and everything, it's going to take up like a whole day, because it's really dependent on that day. It's really dependent on how busy they are. So, that's why I say, like, if you're really only there for a week or two, you might not want to do this. If you're planning a long stay, you're there 3 months, you're there 6 months, a year, well, you don't want to pay tickets all the time, because you want to be able to drive freely. You don't want to get pulled over at every checkpoint and get a ticket. You know what I mean? So you're going to want to do this if you're a long stay. If you're only there for a week, you might get a few tickets, pay them, enjoy your vacation. That's what I would do. Honestly, that's what, I'm not giving you advice, but that's what I would do. I wouldn't take up a whole day just to get a Thai license. Because lots of times what will happen, especially if you go to the bigger immigrations like Phuket Town immigration, Bangkok immigration, if they're super busy, if you go in and get your certificate of entry, certificate of residence, I'm sorry, I don't know why, because I looked up my documents and there's things called certificate of entry, certificate of residence. So if you go to immigration, a bigger immigration to get a certificate of residence, it's a simple process. If they're not busy, you're done in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, especially if you have all the documents, all the copies, you know what you're doing. That's why you're watching this video, to kind of shorten that time span. But if they're super busy, maybe you got through the line quick, maybe you, they took all your documents, whatever. But depending upon when you go, and that's a whole nother story, I would go early in the morning, because you start early in the morning. A lot of times they'll keep everything and they'll tell you to come back. Okay. They'll tell you to come back after lunch. Because lots of times with Thai immigrations, they might close like I know in Phuket Town, Thai immigration would close at 11. Then they would reopen like at 12:31. And they're closed. When they're closed, that means they're closed. They don't mess around with you. And it doesn't matter if you're standing in line or not. Most of the time when they're closed, they're closed. So they would shut down. So if you go in the morning, if they tell you, oh, we need time, then lots of times they'll have it done after lunch, and you come back after lunch and you pick up your certificate of residence. Like if you already wait to the afternoon, they could tell you to come back the next day. That's where it starts taking 2 days, because you need your certificate of residence before you go to the DMV or their type of Department of Motor Vehicles. Then once you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, depending upon how busy they are, to take your test and driving test, then actually, and you get your license that day. Okay, they don't, like in the States or whatever, sometimes they don't give it to you the same day. Sometimes, in the United States, you go take your test, whatever, and you wait for 2 weeks and get it in the mail. The cool thing about Thailand, I don't know why the States don't do this, the United States, cool thing about Thailand, you get your Thai license and your international license in the same day. So you're walk away with it. That's what's kind of cool about it. You'll have it that day. You don't have to wait. They don't mail it to you, whatever. You have it that day, which is kind of really cool. But just, you just kind of have to, plan for it a little bit, especially if you're kind of a little short on time. That way you can kind of get it done in one day. Go get your certificate of residence right early in the morning, get that bad boy done, then drive straight to the DMV where they tell you where it is. Then get your test out of the way. When you're going home to the resort, you have your Thai license, international license, which is pretty cool. But anyway, that's how you get your Thai license, international license. If not, I'm just going to talk in a giant circle. But you kind of know the reasons why you need it. If you're, again, to kind of wrap this up, if you're just in there a week or two, it might not be worth it for you, because it does take up time. It's not something you just get done in an hour, because you're going to do 2 separate places. They could be far away depending upon where you're staying, and depends upon how busy they are. Makes sense? So it does take time. It does take sometimes at least 1 day to get it. So, lots of times you're only there in Thailand for a week. In my opinion, what I would do is I would just take the tickets, honestly. I was a long stay, so it made sense for me to get my Thai license, international license. So that's the route I went. But other than that, my friends, that's how you get your Thai license, international license. That's the documents needed. That's kind of the steps needed. And other than that, over and out, and I'll see you in the next video.